Hello and a very warm welcome to Bhutan This Week, our weekly news magazine program with me, Namgye Wangchu. Our top stories. His Majesty the King visited the Drugyaldzong reconstruction site in Paru this week. Prime Minister Singh Tokye says the increase in vehicle tax is just a rumor, not true. And Aaron Pet Bayard from the US is the champion of this year's Dentak Open Mountain Bike Race. His Majesty the King visited the Drugyaldzong construction site in Paru on Wednesday this week. It was announced in February that the restoration of the Dzong would commence this year to celebrate the royal birth and 400 years of Shabdrung's arrival in Bhutan. The 17th century Dzong in Tsentogyok was built during the time of Shabdrung Ngawang Namgyal as a symbol of victory over external invasions.
His Majesty the King explored the ruins of the Dzong and interacted with officials carrying out the preliminary works for the Dzong restoration. His Majesty was accompanied by the Prime Minister, the Home and Education Ministers and other senior officials. The Dzong was built in 1649 by Tenzin Dugda under the command of Shabdrung Ngawang Namgyal. In 1951, a fire caused major damages to the Dzong. Kale, the Dzong's caretaker, was only 10 years old when the fire incident happened. He said, although the Utse of the Dzong was restored after the fire, time has taken its toll on the fortress of victory. And now, with the start of the restoration works, locals are happy that their age-old heritage will be built to its former glory. His Majesty the King commanded the restoration works. As of now, an archaeological survey of the Dzong and soil testing of the grounds are being carried out. It is expected to finish in a few months' time, after which restoration works on the structures will start. Compiled for Rishi Gelson in Paro, Sonam Wongdi, PBS News.
Her Majesty the Queen Mother Sringpem Wangchuk, the President of the Youth Development Fund, revived the Divine Madman Lam Drukpa Kiles Trail on Saturday last week in Punakha. Her Majesty the Queen Mother was accompanied by Her Royal Highness Princess Chimi Yangzom Wangchuk, the Vice President of the YDF. It is to promote eco-tourism under My Gaki Village project of Youth Development Fund.
The ancient trail of the Divine Madman is from Tauhoga to Siluna in Tebisagyog in Punakha. The walk takes about 4 hours. The route, which was forgotten for decades, connects 21 villages. It was this path that Lam Drukpa Kilne used to subdue the demons. The trail has many sacred sites related to Lam Drukpa Kilne. It is one of the main activities of My Gaki Village project in Tebisagyog to curb rural-urban migration and empower rural youth with livelihood skills. The project is for ecotourism, pottery and tea making, and media lab. Her Majesty graced the local exhibition held at the Tauhogan village. The Youth Development Fund trained the youth cooperatives to produce and package the local tea leaves, which is now available in the market.
With such initiative in our community, it will help our youth to get jobs. It will also create employment opportunities for our youth. These days, youth mostly live for urban areas looking for jobs. This initiative will help reduce youth migrating to towns.
With a higher number of economically disadvantaged youth, a media lab was also started for computer literacy and media training.
This training has benefited me immensely. After I started a basic computer course in this media lab, I managed to get a job recently as a store in charge in one of the IT firms.
With this project, we are able to get young people to come together, form cooperatives, and also help the communities, empowering them. So we are looking at empowering the communities, getting the young people to come together, build the capacity, and they become capable, and they start their own livelihood programs.
My Gaki village is a 3-year joint venture project between an NGO from France and YDF. Compiled for Chene Demo and Komal Kharkar from Punakha, Sonapanjo, BBS News.
The Music of Bhutan Research Center recovered the songs sung almost 5 decades ago during the reign of His Majesty the Third Drukgyalpo. The songs were from the first studio recordings of the traditional Bhutanese music. The CD was launched 23rd of this month in Thimphu.
The CD has 15 tracks, first recorded on a gramophone some 47 years ago. And before it was completely lost, the Music of Bhutan Research Center compiled the songs in the CD.
With the help of civil society organizations, authority and other sponsors, we sent the gramophone to the experts in the US. Using advanced technology, we made it into CDs.
And these are some of the people behind those beautiful voices of the past.
A group of us went to record the songs, and it was all Jungda. When I was young, I was able to sing well. But now, I am old and cannot sing like in the past. So today, I am very happy to listen to the songs.
We recorded the songs long time back and we haven't heard it for years. So I thought that it must have vanished, but today, listening to the songs once again, I felt rejuvenated.
In 1968, upon the command of His Majesty the Third Drukgyalpo, a group of his best singers were sent to make a gramophone recording in Kolkata in India. The first gramophone records of Bhutanese vocal music were of lasting cultural importance. However, with limited copies and no sales to the public, it vanished. But today, people can once again listen to the songs from some 47 years ago.
The traditional music and songs that we have today in the country are all because of His Majesty the Third Drukgyalpo. He even established Rapa. He was also someone who was very much interested in music. There were instances where there would always be someone who would sing to His Majesty the Third Drukgyalpo while traveling, as if like listening to a radio.
It not only showcases some of the most gifted artists of the era, but also captures a special historical moment. Srungdama Galson, BBS News.
A 39-year-old man is under Lunchi police custody for allegedly distributing a pornographic material on social media, popularly known as WeChat, on Saturday last week. The freelance tour guide is accused to have uploaded the clip on an online forum from Tequila in Lunchi. The guide was apprehended after a forum member filed a complaint to the police. The forum consists of about 313 members, including the suspect. According to Penal Code of Bhutan 2004, a defendant shall be guilty of the offence of computer pornography if the person publishes and distributes an obscene photograph or picture on the computer or over the internet. Lunchi police says the guide may be sentenced to a minimum of 1 year imprisonment if convicted. During the recent Meet the Press session, Prime Minister Chring Tobgye clarified that the increase in vehicle tax is just a rumor and not true. Following a vehicle tax speculation, people are seen buying vehicles.
나바나시 지속이 대 차릉열기 순대 남다게 합 대 차도메베 세슈니 대 다또 디 디기 로주 테마친 Dedi ngaragi tawachin dilu khung mebigi lujuni sishuni. Dit migi zodigibe zodigibe the chapter bumena snoime.
The Prime Minister also said number of vehicles in Thimphu and Phuntsholing are increasing rapidly, but not in other parts of the country. So in order to control the import of vehicles in these places, the government has asked the Information and Communication Ministry to do a study on imposing certain tax only for these places.
다 팀북이 대디 소소베서고 세션이 대디 팀북이 나제 numkor nangdin bewegi te yan numkor i tongte yan numkor toke bewegi te yan numkor lalen tabdalu sanumgi te makugi te disu ngachena tomde nalu te sosobe zoachin te ngache tomde nalu gari desu minyo seshuni iru diala hayu seshuni timpu sodalu gate mo gatele gatisınsı mo timpu tomdelu jamchi mo 대 니답기 대 사고날로 임모 대 안수에 레지메타고 따곱두.
Towards preparing the country for natural disaster such as earthquake, the Department of Disaster Management is preparing a national earthquake plan. The plan will lay out the course of action in aftermath of such a disaster.
Currently, the Disaster Management Authority is in the process of identifying public structures immune to earthquake catastrophe. Prime Minister Tring Tobgay during the recent Meet the Press said hospitals and schools have been prioritized for the assessment.
Since hospitals and schools will have patients and students, we want to make sure that they are as safe as possible. If there are any schools that are extremely vulnerable, then we should take immediate measures to evacuate the school, regardless of the fact that it may appear to be sound now, it may be peaceful now.
As of now, assessments have been completed for 37 schools and 3 hospitals in the country.
Department of Disaster Management, we initiated a bilateral discussion with all the ministries, relevant ministries and technical agencies. And then just day before, 1 day ago, we had a National Disaster Management Authority meetings. And all the bilateral findings were presented to the Prime Minister. Now we have a clear instruction from the Honorable Prime Minister that now every agency's ministries has done a lot of work, has done a lot of coordination, preparedness at different levels, but we need to bring all this into one coordination. Now for that, now we are about to start now.
The chief seismologist with the Department of Geology and Mines, Doche Drukpa, said geophysically, Bhutan is located in one of the most seismically active zones in the world.
If you look here in this map, you imagine that is the Indian foothill, Indian plain, and then the Himalayas are rising as you go towards the north. Here the plain or the Indian continental plate is basically subducting at a very shallow angle into the Himalayas. And based on not only these studies, based on other studies, the fault plane that starts from the foothills to about a kilometer, about 100 kilometers is locked. So if that plate, the fault is locked, that has to be released in terms of a big earthquake.
Since no science can predict exactly when an earthquake will strike, Prime Minister Tring Tobgay said it is important for the country to stay prepared for such a natural calamity.
Since hospitals and schools will have patients and students, we want to make sure that they are as safe as possible. If there are any schools that are extremely vulnerable, then we should take immediate measures to evacuate the school, regardless of the fact that it may appear to be sound now, it may be peaceful now.
The last major earthquake measuring more than 8 on Richter scale Bhutan experienced was some 300 years ago. Srindya Magalsen, BBS News.
Building owners in Lapsakha town in Gedu are going through tough time repaying loans. Most buildings in the town are empty while some shops started vacating. They use other income to repay their building loans.
This is the regular scene of Lapsakha town, peaceful and silent unlike in other towns. Most of the shop spaces are empty and are closed. Even the residential flats remain unoccupied. Building owners are therefore facing difficulty in meeting their monthly loan payment.
We don't have customers in our shops and we don't have tenants in our house. Most of our houses are under lock and key and they stay outside. I think it's visible to you as well. Therefore, we have a severe problem here.
Firstly, we don't get tenants. Even if we offer discounts, we don't get tenants. So we have to keep our house empty for 2 to 3 months. When we plan to do business, there are no customers.
The landowners here are struggling, working in various government agencies. They have just constructed the building but are working in different projects so that they can repay the loan at the end of the month.
The town is not prospering since 2 small towns are located in the same area, according to some people. There are also some problems with the town's infrastructure.
We have problems with road, street light and even there is water problems at times. We have been consistently requesting Dzongkhag for the help. If Dzongkhag could solve these problems, then I don't think that we would go through the same problem.
However, Chuka Dzongkhag's municipal engineer said maintenance works are underway. He said works for a separate water supply for the Lapchakha town has been awarded to a contractor. Back then, when towns like in Gedu prospered, people started constructing buildings in Lapchakha. But after Tala hydropower project was complete, business started deteriorating. Currently, there are 20 buildings in Lapchakha town. For Kingata Shin Funseling, Tamchuzam, BBS News.
Farmers of Thumang village in Tangsibji Gyeok in Trongsa are worried with the only irrigation channel being damaged by the widening works of East-West Highway. They are now looking forward to compensation from the government with no possibility to transplant the paddy.
With summer season approaching, 65-year-old Sangha is preparing his fields to transplant paddy. Paddy will be transplanted in a few weeks' time from now, which will be not possible if the only irrigation channel is not restored.
I don't know how we can bring the water this year. They say the possibility is very less. In that case, we might have to work for others and earn a living. Otherwise, the paddy that we grow is enough for us.
For decades, the irrigation channel has been along the road, but the widening works have damaged everything now. I don't know how we will be able to transplant paddy this year. It is like losing 1 year's rations if we are not able to transplant paddy. If they don't restore the channel, I think the government might have some rules to help us.
When we informed the Department of Roads about the damages, they told they will compensate the farmers as per the rules. But will that compensation amount to the loss that these farmers will have to bear? We are worried about it.
The Dzongkhag Thokdo also recently discussed the issue. The chief engineer from the roads department, Tauge Cherup, said the farmers will be compensated. According to the government compensation rate 2009, farmers are entitled to over 12,000 Newton per acre. But agriculture officials say farmers are able to produce paddy worth about 60,000 Newton from 1 acre of land in Tangsibji. Compiled for Surjaman Thapa in Tongsa, Tsingzam, BBS News.
A teacher of Uzrung Central School allegedly hit the vice principal on his head with a knife Friday last week. The victim, who suffered injury on the head, was referred to Mongar Hospital. He was discharged on Monday this week. According to the school, the incident happened as part of dissatisfaction and anger he had against the school. Since he had many complaints and was accused of behavioral problems, he had opted to resign. But denial from the school to provide positive recommendation letters for employment in private schools had led to the incident. The accused, who is a Bhutanese, is currently under police custody in Trashigang. Over 300 truckers were fined for overloading in Shyamgang this year. Almost all the trucks are transporting cement bags from Nganglam to Mangdishu hydropower project in Trongsa. According to Road Safety and Transport Authority, a truck is allowed to carry only up to 10.5 tons of loads.
Routine highway inspection is conducted and overloaded trucks are penalized. Some of the trucks are found carrying 15 tons of cement bags, way beyond the approved load. For every extra ton of load, the fine is 1500 Newton. And travelling at night has become a norm among the truckers to avoid being caught by the law enforcement officials.
When there is no benefit, we have no option than to carry more. Since they penalize us during the day, we travel at night. And this is also the cause of the accidents, but trucks continue to carry. There is also no talk about increasing the transportation charges. We don't have any other options than carrying extra load, since we have repayments to be made. Truck owners ask us to carry certain amount of load, but officials penalize us, and in between the drivers are in a problem.
About 60 trucks carrying cement travel between Tongsa and Nganglam every day. The checks are being done to prevent road fatalities. 4 truckers lost their lives this year alone along the Gonfu-Panbang highway. Compiled for Pema Samrup, Tandon Finso, BBS News.
Due to lack of researchers, the National Mushroom Center has not been able to come up with basic mushroom identification process. The National Mushroom Center therefore warns that what may seem an attractive and edible mushroom may not be safe for consumption.
The National Mushroom Center says people should consume mushrooms which they are familiar with. If not sure, the center advises people not to consume the mushrooms. According to the center, it is difficult to identify mushroom due to its large number and similar appearances.
Yeah, some people believe that if you give a name to a mushroom, it can be consumed. But I think what they meant is you have to know the mushroom very well. Mostly in Bhutan, edible mushrooms have names. Poisonous mushrooms, they don't have names. Or inedible ones also, they don't have names. So it is to make sure that you know the mushroom. And the other part is people talk about adding Santoxylum. It's called Tingge in Dzongkha. And some people, especially in the eastern side, they habitually use it. But it doesn't destroy the poisons in the mushroom.
The program director explained what people must do if they fall sick of mushroom poisoning.
First thing they can do is try to vomit, and later on also stomach wash also is recommended. And normally people tend to vomit and sweat a lot, so some people can die from dehydration. So first thing is to remove the toxins as soon as possible and replace the fluid with salted water.
Almost every year, few people die of mushroom poisoning in the country. The center therefore advises people to be cautious of what they consume. Sonam Pem for BBS News.
Aaron Pitt Bayard from the US is the champion of this year's Dentak Open Mountain Bike Race. He finished the 88 kilometers race from Thimphu to Paro and back in 2 hours, 38 minutes and 6 seconds. The race was organized on 24th of this month, coinciding with the racing day of Dentak.
169 cyclists were flagged off from the Chanlimita. Aaron Pete Bayard led the race most of the time. It was Sonam, the former champion, who challenged Aaron throughout the race. and it was just 3 seconds between them as they touched the finish line. The win came as a surprise for Aaron, a professional mechanic who has been cycling for 8 years.
I definitely didn't think I was going to win. I mean, I thought there was a chance, possibly, but you never know in mountain bike racing. You know, a lot can happen, and there's a lot of great competitors. So you go in, you do your best, and that's all you can hope for.
In the women's category, 19-year-old Chime Dema won the race, though she is new to the sport.
I am good at marathon, so I thought I could be a good cyclist too. It's just been 20 days since I bought the bicycle, and I'm very happy to win the title today.
Prime Minister Sering Tobge also got a prize in a special category. The race saw a record number of participants this year. Sonam Penjo, BBS News.
Well, that's all we have for you this week. Join us next week, same time and same channel. Thank you for watching.